hello Health Power Healthcare fam. Like that's right. That's right. This is all about lesson number one. I think the thing that we quote the most is don't gatekeep yourself, right?
Yeah, speaking of being thrust on stage, I had a stage experience this week that I won't gatekeep for this audience if you're interested in hearing a little bit more as we, get into the topic of the day.
Let's actually 100% go there. And for those that don't know us, Chris Hemphill with Modular Feedback and
Melissa Riley with Stealth.
And we've got a lot of energy coming into this week. We missed you. We have missed you because, we haven't been putting episodes out as consistently and religiously as we want, just because of being buried under mountains of things, new clients and stuff like that. But it's happening. We want to get this thing out when we can and be more consistent. We're super proud of our little game show that we did a couple of weeks. We want more of that, more like live consultation. We talked to Asia after that, and he's already implementing some changes and thoughts based on that conversation. Super excited to get into all that stuff.
I love that. And Chris, I've been cheating on us. I did another podcast in our break.
You're not allowed to do other podcasts. What are you talking about?
I know.
Who's your other? Shout them out. Who's this other podcast?
Well, I met this amazing woman, Mary Crean, and she's in Connecticut. And I met her through our friend Allison Holzer. Shout out to Allison. I have to give Allison the biggest shout out, and then I'll tell you all about this podcast, Chris, because Allison is nominated for a Hartford Businesswoman Award this Wednesday. I'm actually going to celebrate her and her award, which is so exciting. And she was so great because she introduced me to Mary at the Prime Life podcast. And so I did her podcast and I got to talk all about stealth, but it was from the angle of kind of a little bit of what we talk about, Chris. It's that you can use your side hustle, which can become your full-time hustle, to be able to generate income for you and start to replace your full-time income. And it goes alongside of like why I got on stage earlier this week when I talked about leaning into your financial power. So this kind of side quest, I will call it. It's not necessarily a side hustle, but the side quest around women and money and your finances is an area that I'm just loving right now.
Let's expand on that, especially because the Women Business Leaders Conference was earlier this week, and I saw a lot of colleagues and friends out there. What's going on the floor? Can you talk to us about what they're trying to promote?
Okay, so they are they're celebrating a milestone year. And so their founder, Lynn Shapiro Snyder, she is such a cool woman. She, 25 years ago, just had this idea to get together a group of women. And she has all these cute, adorable mottos. Makes me feel like we need more mottos, don't gatekeep yourself. Because she said finding a woman business leader was like finding a needle in a haystack. And so what did she decide to do? She built a haystack full of needles. So she gathered together, that kind of gives you chills, right? So she gathered together women that she probably interacted with, but they didn't know each other. And she got them together for their first inaugural session, and they just became friends and they helped each other. Just like you and I help each other. And so I just love this idea of being a part of an incredible community that helps one another with whatever their career desires aspire to be. And so a lot of this was celebrating their milestone year of being together, but they also had content on investing. They had content, a lot of the things that we talk about, they had content on. This was great. They had archangels in, Alex Drain, talking about caregiving. And we got to do a fun little poll that aligned to our horoscopes. And we talked about how many women are caregivers in the sandwich generation, and this idea that although we're trying to climb and rise and do all the things, we're often held back in some ways by this caregiving. And so who supports the caregivers?
Beautiful, beautiful. And it makes me wonder too, so the conference is all women, right?
There was, yes, although at the gala, some of the women could bring their husband. So I actually sat next to a man at dinner, which was very unusual at the WBL event. Yes.
Well, I'm glad that he came and supported too, right? I wonder, like, when you take the men out of the equation and things like that, how does the subject matter, like, what are some of the things that that just don't get discussed at typical conferences that was able to be surfaced and very important here?
Yeah, it's so interesting that you asked that. So I would not say it was a male bashing event by any shake of the imagination. When I told some people I was going to a women conference, people were like, well, are you just sitting around talking bad about the men? I mean, no one said that directly, but that was the subtext. And the answer was no.
I'm sad that they jumped to that conclusion, but keep going.
Well, I mean, I just think anytime when you create a group, and you say, this is only for women, right? Then the originally thing you may jump to is that, the men are bad, right? So we're excluding them. That's not it at all. And specifically in our session, one of the things that we were talking about is it was women and money, and this idea that women don't talk about money in the same way women don't share stock tips. I'm being very stereotypical, but a man is more likely than a woman to tell a friend, hey, I got in on this great deal. Or a man will pull another male friend onto a board position, but you don't see, I call that king making. You don't see that king making, queen making happen in the same way where a woman sits on a board and she pulls her woman friend in to sit on that same board. And so, none of this is meant for me to sit out there and be like, men are bad. In fact, in my experience, Chris, the men are the ones that were actually mentoring me and giving me way more opportunities than the women were. So, from negotiating salary or saying, hey, you should go for this role, I'm more likely to have that conversation with a man, oftentimes my husband, or one of my husband's executive friends, than I will around a woman. Women, on the other hand, are, like, hey, I love that bag, or I love that outfit, and will happily trade me outfit suggestions, which I will happily take. But I also want, someone to discuss career trajectory, or, should I step back from my career to spend more time with my family? And I just think that's the kind of conversation that was happening both in our session and in the broader session.
I just want to make a broader statement, because I do find it cynical to jump to, oh, it's a women's event and there must be man bashing, when there are many men's outings, retreats, fellowships, and things like that. Same for women, same for if I go to a black event that's not about beating down on white people.
The white people?
Yeah. Look, we're up here, we're friends. So yeah, just that's I'm preaching to a choir that already knows, not to jump to a cynical conclusion. It's just sometimes that was my question was when you remove a certain element from the room, then what are the types of things that get to be discussed? So I'm soapboxing a little bit. Let me let you get back.
No, I loved it. I think you going to a black event and not beating down on the white people might be our clip of the day, Chris. I don't know. I wonder how our fam thinks about networking groups and what networking groups have they found to be helpful. I have found the WBL, and this is not meant to be a WBL commercial, to be incredibly helpful in terms of I need advice from someone in the industry, and there's almost like permission, almost like an expectation that if I reach out, they will help. And that is so cool. I don't know that I have any other group that is, except for maybe, the alumni network of one of the companies that I worked for, that is that helpful when I need something.
I mean, so you are a connector in that way. Look at Stealth. look at who you've hired and like that structure. It's kind of like Noah's Ark, or like. And I only say that because you got us all on a boat one time. So
I'll wait till we find out what we're doing this year.
ooh, is that secret right now? Are we keeping that stealth?
Should I gatekeep it? I don't think we're going to gatekeep it. It's right up your alley because I think we're doing a concert this year. I'm waiting on we'll keep the artist under wraps for now, but we're working on a concert. But
that's freaking amazing.
But thank you on the comment on networking. I think that was another one of the principles. Maybe that's why I feel so seen with the WBL. One of their other mottos is who mentors the mentors. Well, we mentor each other, which is so great, because I think that's what you and I do for each other, and what the fam does for us is, hey, we can ask a question, and someone who knows more than us on a certain topic will lean back in and help us. And there's not always an expectation of payment, but I think there can be when the work gets to be at the right level. And I think that's great. Like, I want everyone to be bringing opportunities to everyone.
Well, it makes me wonder. Did you see the change in some people's eyes, like when it was like that conversation about bringing other women onto the boat? Did you have some conversations with people and see where they were maybe learning and figure out, like, hey, I should be like figuring out how to bring other people along with me and open up opportunities for other women?
Well, it was interesting. I think I'm hitting that switching point, like maybe as you said. I'm going from the animal to Noah, I guess, to keep the metaphor going. Mm-hmm. I think previously when I had attended conferences like this, maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, I was the animal looking for the Noah to get on the boat with. Mm. And now I feel like sitting in a position of a Noah, where often I'm at these events because I'm trying to find someone for someone else, or I'm really just there because I want to encourage others to be able to have the freedom that we have. It's a little bit different. I don't know. It's a great question around seeing the people decide to be Noahs. I'm not sure I'm seeing that, but I'm seeing a lot of happy animals feeling like they found their Noahs. Like they feel very comforted that like there's going to be a boat for them to get on. Did I kill this analogy? I mean, am I in the 40 days of rain now, Chris?
No. There's a dove coming your way, too. Yeah.
I feel bad for those that haven't studied the Old Testament after this, era.
That's true. Yeah, we're recording on a Sunday, and I guess it's showing.
Yes. Welcome to the Church of Hope, Power, and Healthcare.
This makes me want to do a shout out, though, to Rebecca Woods. I think I've introduced y'all before at some point, but she puts on the Bluebird Leaders Summit, which is a women's focused summit. Now, non-women are allowed there too, but the majority focus is women. And I went to the one that she did in Atlanta, I believe in 2024. I know she did one in Denver last year. I don't know if she's doing it this year, but it was just so incredible that when she got up on stage to introduce the purpose of the conference, she said, what I want to do is a massive Jedi mind trick to get you to like be able to just it's for woman oriented health. It was healthcare specific women leadership, and she wanted to Jedi mind trick everybody into like just being able to advocate for themselves and go the next get to the next level. Like that thing that you think you can't do, you can do it, but very healthcare specific. She was a chief information officer at a health system in the past.
I love these community builders or these Noahs. I mean, I think they're just so important because there's so many people out there. We've talked about this before, where sometimes when people go through transitions, you see this huge drop in confidence in, am I going to be able to cross the chasm and do this next thing? And I think having a community to support you as you're making changes is just so, so important. And so whether we can be that community or we can help you get connected to a community that does work for you, I just think the power of community is so, so important. And it reminds me a little bit of the third event that I went to this week. If you'll humor me for one more, I had the pleasure of going with our client life guides to the founders was being honored at Babson's Sustainability and Entrepreneur Summit. And Chris, what an incredible conference to get to be a part of. This idea of, I'm so used to like doing a healthcare conference. This was like a let's take care of the earth kind of conference. And so, we got to see founders that have made millions, if not billions, doing things like making a leather that doesn't harm animals, like a synthetic leather that looks like real leather, and doing work on the oceans. I had the pleasure of seeing this whole video created by David Shaw, who, just had this incredible, or has this incredible career and wrote this book called Wave Makers. And so I just, getting the joy of like seeing another aspect of the ecosystem, which is sustainability, was just so awesome.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So what brought you, Queen of Healthcare, to this non-healthcare center? Well, actually, like I say non-healthcare focused, but then I think about leaders like Dr. Kamal Bajaj of New York Health and Hospital System, who focuses on sustainability and operating at net zero, because hospitals are often very large carbon emitters. But what brought you to want to be at that conference?
Yeah, so Life Guides. So Mark was getting this honor, one of our clients, and they do non-clinical mental health, so peer support and professional mentoring. And the event was only about an hour and a half for me, and so it was a great opportunity to connect with my client, but also, my passion for supporting entrepreneurs. And so I love to see the places where entrepreneurs are like getting made and baked at the college. Like, there's such a part of me that loves kind of getting back to that education. So it was such a worthy event to kind of spend my time. And I just wanted to see how colleges were treating entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. And it feels like, in this world of, everything's getting taken over by AI, someone has to sell the AI and someone has to create the companies with AI. And so you can see that happening at college.
Cool. So everything getting, So that takes you back all the way to a subject where we're talking about sustainability, but then there's the impact that data centers have on not just the environment, but like what people are paying to live. Was that a topic that came up at the conversations as well?
I think later in the afternoon it was there. For me, it was like a very good reminder of it was very mission aligned to all the things that we talk about. You can do good and make money, right? And I think that's a lot of it, is that although these companies are making a lot of money, they're profitable. Their whole focus, their reason for being, was actually around this sustainability. And similar to WBL.
Wait a minute, these companies, you're not talking about the AI you're talking about other companies, right? Like
everyone at the conference.
Just making sure that it wasn't open AI. Okay, cool, good.
No, I was not at an open AI conference, but I would go to that if someone wants to invite me, for sure. What I thought was just very interesting is in healthcare, oftentimes, you'll stumble into sustainability on the edges, right? This whole focus was on entrepreneurship and sustainability. And so I was like, okay, doing what I'm doing right now with the building, and you think about LEED certified buildings and green buildings, I'm like, there is a way to wrap sustainability into all that we end up doing. And you may have some things to opine on around the use of AI. One of the topics that did come up at the conference was we have been flat from a power utilization up into the point where we now see the intro of ChatGPT. With ChatGPT and AI now, our power consumption is going up at a hockey stick like level. So I just think there's something to be thinking about as we continue to use AI and the power that that's going to require.
Yeah, because let me relate it to my activities this week, which were along with this client onboarding. I'll focus more on the greater good gathering. That is a summit. This was the fourth one they've done it in New York City. It's crazy. Eric Schnurr, he's this background as an attorney, but went into a lot of public works projects and things like that. And he is just extremely interested in getting people together with divergent opinions and having them hack things out. And
hack like hash, like talk it out, or like literally code it out.
Talk okay.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a developer centered conference. It was more like informing policymakers and leaders, not just within healthcare. Healthcare was just one panel, but like Eric, the way that he assembled it, like it's like nothing I've ever seen. Like it was all about, like, every panel was some angle, some exploration of AI, including things like morality, healthcare, and sustainability came a lot. Music. And let me just tell you.
Can you tell us more about that? Tell us more about each of those. That sounds so interesting.
So he made sure that it wasn't just a bunch of people agreeing with each other. Even I said on the healthcare panel, I said, hey, I might disagree with a lot of the things that are said here. And they said, okay, great. Yeah, that's what we want. We need spice on our stages. I want to highlight on the music. The music
tell us about the music.
Yeah.
Like, you love music.
Yeah. So music, have you ever heard of BBL Drizzy?
No.
Oh.
But remember, Chris, I am like, the pop culture queen. I like any music that's good. My husband says I don't know it, so I am not the litmus test here.
Well, it's like this isn't like niche avant-garde music. This was like this really fun, like, viral TikTok video that was using AI generated music to, I think, make fun of Drake. So you had the creator, this guy's constantly going viral on TikTok. You have him, and he's using AI, like AI generated music. I'm not sure what platforms he uses, but you have him sitting on the same panel as a representative of creative workers' rights, and another representative of a film festival that bans the use of AI. And because
the problem that they see coming is agentic actors are going to take the roles of real actors. Yes,
they see that, they see that as a potential, and really they want to avoid all of that. But the crux is, like, normally you would see them on a panel where everybody else kind of shares that same opinion, but you have them on a panel where, like, this man has made his life, like he was completely ignored by the industry and everyone until he used this tool to generate music that helped his TikTok videos go viral. So yeah, there was a like, let's call it back and forth. Let's call it disagreement and debate. And I like a session like that because
productive. It's productive discord, productive agitation. There's a word for it.
We don't even have to fancy it up. Like that. Like at the end, like
did anyone fight? Was there a fist fight?
Yeah, like we're talking. Let's call it the intellectual Jerry Springer.
Ah, that's awesome. I would love to see that.
But it raises some tough questions because I'm a musician. We can see the synthesizers behind me if you're watching on YouTube and stuff like that, and I get a joy out of the process of creation. But this BBL Drizzy guy and all that, like he actually started the exercise with like having the audience participate in making a song in real time. And even the audience, if people are disgusted by how these models are trained and the like, then there was like positive and negative audience reaction, but everybody was participating in his perspective on the art. And then there was other art that was anti use of AI and like made it very clear about like the inequities in how these models are trained and developed and things like that. So even like you didn't walk away from the conversation with a clear answer. It forced everybody to sit down and discuss the perspectives afterwards on like, did this man raise some valid points by talking about like how his life would like he would never have been able to get the platform that he's gotten without these tools available, versus the way that these models are trained and like the ethics of the overall development process and how they're made available. Like it forced uncomfortable and difficult conversations, and I was really pleased that they were willing to do a conference like that.
Well, this sounds like a conference you could not multitask through, because you had to like pay attention to the two sides, and then it sounds like a lot of spirited debate there.
Yes, yeah, I went into it with that like, I don't like being in somebody's session and having my phone out and laptop out, but sometimes that pressure gets to me and I'm having to check it out. But with this one, it was a hard thing. It made it very easy to keep the phone down because like that they had such excitement and energy about the subject.
Yeah, and also the topics just sound really unique in terms of, I don't know that I've ever thought about disparities in, songs or agentic song creation.
Well, the thing to think about is like look at the active lawsuits with Suno and the music industry. Is if I'm taking a bunch of materials, I've slaved away at at producing a bunch of music. Like these synthesizers behind me are not cheap, and then someone takes the output of those and just trains those into a model where someone can type and generate that output. There is a massive people who produced the tooling that made those algorithms possible. They're looking for some kind of compensation, some kind of repentance, and there's just nothing to be found in that particular model. So there are companies that have come up with like hiring and licensing music to train their models to address that ethical question, but in other cases, like with Suno's case, it's a big question mark on whether or not there was that creator equity in how those models were trained.
It's fascinating. What else did you take away from the event? It sounds like your topic. Did you argue with anybody? I had a very, very freaking good panel. Okay. It was the moderator. She is actually married to Eric. Linda. She's a gerontologist who deeply steeped in public health programs and deeply curious, but also optimistic about the potential impact that AI can have in healthcare. There was a neuroscientist, Dr. Gary Marcus. He was the one that I was most familiar with because he's had a lot of conversation back and forth with regards to artificial intelligence and honestly holding it to a higher standard. Like a lot of people see him as a contrarian, the anti-AI person, etc. But when I read what he's saying, I get the perspective that he's excited about the potential of technology designed extremely well, but also just warns people that you don't want to treat these systems as having deterministic outputs, as being absolutely right about these things. There's a whole wave of hype that he's opposing, but he's they call him a contrarian, even though he's someone who was early on in development and sale of machine learning algorithms in companies.
Then we had Natasha, what is her last name? Natasha Dow Schull. Extremely interesting person. She's a cultural anthropologist who's done like all kinds of surveys and studies on people's perceptions, and also like attends CES and other events. And she was able to color us in on perspectives and research about how these systems are disseminating in healthcare. And Dr. Catalina Gonzalez Uribe, who also did a 300-person survey and just had a lot of good perspectives on on whether or not we can help like build things that improve healthcare outcomes, like how we would develop those in a way that addresses a lot of the problems and biases that algorithms have out of the box. So great, fun panel. Did get into a little bit of a debate where Gary referenced like hearing like Dr. Oz speaking about regulation, the FDA, and the need to get out of the way. And it was kind of at the disgust of the audience, right? Because like maybe hearing it from Dr. Oz is like, oh, well, we should just be sidestepping the regulatory process. Maybe that's the perception that people came away with. But I had to preface, I said, I'm not necessarily a Dr. Oz enjoyer, but like the idea that like we have to hold the FDA accountable in terms of like being able to be clear in what the guidance is for startups. So like there's a lot of opacity there.
I agree with you.
Yes. And there's like we're like 10 years.
Clarity. You need clarity on the timing of each phase and the bars at each gate, which I don't know is always perfectly well understood by innovators. 1000%.
Clarity, goalposts that aren't moving. And plus, like straight up, like I acknowledge that they're taxed. They're taxed in terms of like there's a very small team that handles all of the digital mental health cases, and like they're using research methodologies and things like that were designed for like a deterministic world 10 years ago, whereas the most common apps right now are probabilistic in nature. And the science they're using has yet to keep up with that. So it creates a lot of difficulties for them, for the staff, for people submitting. So I do think that the FDA can adopt some practices that help get out of the way in a helpful way that still gets us the safe outcomes that we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the trade-off between relaxing the process and seeing more errors, and being clear in the process and tightening it without over tightening it in such a way that it squelches innovation. It's interesting if you look at like what's coming through right now, the peptides, the psychedelics, things that have been really gate-kept for a while. There is some good. I mean, there's good in all these things, right? It's just, will we over relax, or will we see harm come because we loosen things up too much? And I don't think anyone has the crystal ball to say this is the right amount of loosening that we need and the right amount of clarity that needs to be driven into the process. I mean, I don't know that anyone's like, "Ooh, I love going through the FDA process." Like none of the clients like that I've ever worked with have said, "Yeah, I can't wait to get into the FDA process. It's so awesome."
We got to get an FDA expert on the show.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's definitely do it.
I'm going to shout out to Acacia Parks and Aubrey Schick. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah. How do I know Aubrey? Not Acacia. Maybe you've just referenced them before, but I think maybe you've introduced me to Aubrey before.
Then let's not even put it to a vote. Let's get somebody who has something of a crystal ball, a much better crystal ball than I do, and I feel like they're friends, so maybe them as a pair, they would like really help out. And honestly, like they'll be so fun on the podcast that people will be like, man, I can't wait to go to the FDA process if it's with them.
I love it. Let's do it. We will not gatekeep ourselves into learning more about the FDA process.
So Yeah, like that was the greater good gathering in a nutshell was, I think, just something that anybody should be more like more conferences should be more comfortable like having some debate, diverging opinions on the stage rather than kind of like the yes and loop.
Yeah, I love healthy spirited debate, and you know, and I also love conference season. I know some people hate it, but I just love it. I just think it's it's just a great time to connect with the community, learn some new things. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a sustainability rabbit hole for entrepreneurs, and I love it. I'm happy with being in that rabbit hole, and although I want to get in your rabbit hole too, that sounds really fun.
Cool. Well, there's a reason I wanted to bring it up on the podcast today, is because I advocate the hell out of it. Everybody needs to go. Like how often? Like we're talking famous neuroscientists, like giant content creators and stuff like that. A celebration of art and creation all the way through. That's my very overly emphatic pitch that I'm not being paid for.
Oh, I love that. Well, and for me, I'm all about helping people get paid. So hopefully someone will see this and will be like, I want to pay Chris for their amazing opinions on all things AI and data science. And I'm just wishing you lots of paid gigs in your future.
Well, let's flip it from the paid version of that, and where they can get it for free, honestly, because like we talked about community way earlier in the conversation. Another thing that happened during this New York visit was I got like we had a little impromptu Hope, Power, and Healthcare gathering.
I'm devastated that I didn't get an invite.
I invited you to the Greater Good thing, but I know you had the WBL.
So maybe I'm devastated I couldn't make the invite.
Yeah, because if you'd have come on a train from Connecticut
I know I could. I know if I wasn't in Orlando, I so could have. Well, maybe I was on vacation. We all need vacations for sure. But tell us about it, nonetheless. My
Sure
attendance, off to the side.
So we have this Discord. Like, remember we started a Discord, and you were like, "What's Discord?" And I'm like,
I'm still like, "What's Discord? How does one use the Discord?"
In my opinion, I was like, man, I just hear you got to build a community when you do stuff like this. So I was like, I put up a Discord and invite people in, and it just kind of morphed into like it's very nerdy in our Discord. It's very oriented towards researchers.
When I check in on it, I'm like, these are very deep topics. I was like, could we have something on Bravo? Summer House has gotten very interesting lately. No,
we need to. We bring some friends in. I'm keeping I'm keeping the vibe way too nerdy. So we're all talking, and it's a lot of like researchers and data scientists, ML engineers, etc. And a lot of them live in New York City. So I'm coming for this conference, and we did a little gathering. There's an exhibit at the Brooklyn Library on W.E.B. Du Bois's data visualizations and data science. So what a perfect way to spend a Sunday with a bunch of people who are also deep in data to go and see like an impactful history of data science. Like we're looking at visualizations that were created for a summit in Paris 100 years ago to highlight the experiences of Black prosperity and challenges in America. And it was juxtaposed, like you had the original Du Bois works next to visualizations and things that others had created that were inspired by his work. So it was awesome to see that with friends.
And wasn't he the co-founder of the NAACP?
Yes, yeah.
I was like, yes, you're testing my limits because I did not have a study in data science as you do, but I just remember learning about him maybe through, maybe even in some of my psychology classes, right?
Yeah, he kind of like left no domain untouched. Data science.
Like you, Chris. No domain untouched.
like he's a science fiction author, like he's a sociologist, all like just all of the above. Somehow Du Bois found the time to do it. So yeah, cool to hear about how you know about his relationship with like the civil, like founding a big chunk of the civil rights movement in this country. But yeah,
amazing.
And just powerful to see those visualizations. Honestly, as like we know how Black history is taught in high schools and things like that. Like
I don't, Chris.
Really? In Connecticut?
Well, I mean, I would say, okay, like our points of view are so divergent on this, right? I mean, I grew up in such a suburban white ecosystem, so I don't think I would even have a perspective. So tell us, like, how is it taught from?
Yeah. Well, I'm very curious. I grew up in Alabama. I grew up way down in the deep dirty. And you get in fourth grade, you get your Alabama history. And then in fifth grade, you start learning about the civil rights movement, Jim Crow era, slavery, and things like that. But you get this list of historical figures like Frederick Douglass, Du Bois, and the like. But you don't get a whole lot of depth. Like it just feels like a lot of the, like every year you're getting the same rehash on the story of slavery. And I think there's just a lot of like if I learned about like what Du Bois did to highlight Black prosperity post Civil War, like I just remember during the exhibit, I'm looking at this chart that is looking at rates of illiteracy from 1865 to 1900 and rates of property ownership. And I just wasn't like there wasn't that part of like the misery of the Black experience was very well covered in our history classes, but the like the prosperity that Du Bois highlighted, it just made me feel extremely strongly about like who we are and our capabilities to rise against against the system that is designed against us. Because like when you see that, hey, we're learning to read at greater rates, and we're like acquiring property, building and establishing businesses and communities from that time period, it just recontextualizes from kind of like that overall misery story that we're given. It was very empowering to see
like a thread of hope,
a giant thread of hope. Yeah,
I love that. Very similarly, this topic came up on the Summer House, not to devaluate the experience on any level, but one of the main characters, Sierra, who's an African-American nurse model, she bought her family's house. And so it's just like very interesting because she said her grandfather was so prosperous, he had several houses in a neighborhood. So very similarly, like there were some pockets of wealth and entrepreneurship. And she was almost in tears saying how wonderful it was that she was able to purchase her grandfather's house, and she's like updating it. She's going to keep it in the family, but it was so meaningful for her. I mean, and I know, my propensity to relate everything to pop culture. It's not to trivialize it, but it's really from the perspective of, you're absolutely right, Chris. Were pockets of wealth and prosperity, but I think there's still, such downward pressure, and she's even talking about like her fame on the show allowed her to be in a position to purchase her family's house, and how meaningful that was for her. It was cool. It was very hopeful.
Good. Yeah. Good to hear. Good to see. And, a lot of, I think something else that's majorly missing, and I'm just drawing this connection right now as we talk, but like if you, like when you highlight that prosperity, then you also are forced to highlight like major, massive, terrible events that set us back. And one thing that is striking to me is I didn't know about Black Wall Street growing up, and I didn't know about the Tulsa massacre and bombing that happened. So to come into stories like Du Bois's highlights on Black prosperity, and then the bombing of Tulsa and Black Wall Street. Like it makes it feel like there's an agenda to cover up, or like maybe not necessarily like at that agenda level, like I'm trying to control Chris's mind in fourth grade, but we're missing out on a big chunk of the history on like just something that I really think I should have learned about 20 years prior with regards to the Tulsa bombing. It was just it was news to a lot of people when people discovered it.
Well, and if you think about like even the news cycle of last night with what we saw of the Trump attempted assassination again, like how many assassinations are there going to be on Trump, right? In this horrible, like we're not advocating for trying to assassinate anyone. But I do think there is an agenda of media, for sure. And there's an agenda of education. And, it's like, I think when you have this opportunity to be an entrepreneur, or you have the freedom of not working a 9 to 5, and you get to direct what you'll learn about, or where you'll spend your time learning, you just uncover so many amazing things that are out there. There's nowhere near enough time to get into all the rabbit holes, the good ones that we want to get into and really understand things. And I think that has been such a gift of this freedom. And I'm hopeful that even if people are working a 9 to 5, they still save a little bit of brain space or exploration space to learn about things that matter, or maybe even, just get down a trail on something you didn't know about, because you might be surprised how your perspective shifts.
Yes, and I want to advocate too for, like, there's the online rabbit holes we can go down, but always try to find a way to link that to something you can do in person. Because I had been reading about these visualizations. I even have the book, Visualizing Black America, but there was nothing as strong as like being there with friends, like and seeing the original exhibits in person and being able to talk about it afterwards. So when we go on these online historical rabbit holes, look for opportunities to connect with that stuff in person, because learning the real history and the real facts will change you and the work that you want to do.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to where we started this episode, like this idea of community and being around others. There's not regardless if you're paying attention to all the presentations you hear or doing your emails, the opportunity to hear something, engage with something, and then discuss it with others is very different than discussing it with your chat bot. And so yes. I hope we don't lose the online tangible exploration of the world, because we now have all this computing power at our fingertips.
We won't let it happen. Hope Power Healthcare. We've got more, like there is an in-person gathering that we're considering, that we're working on right now. So yeah, you got us on the podcast and all that, but like this little soft launch in-person gathering was excellent. There were people, like I knew everybody, but there were people that didn't know each other that are now.
You're the Noah. You were the Noah of your event, right? Like be the Noah in terms of like you are. And I think we would encourage others in the community to be the Noah and pull others together. One of the things, just going full circle back to the WBL that we talked about on our panel, Miriam, my co-presenter, Paramore, shout out to Miriam. She leads this incredible company, RX Utility, and she's like one of the early members of the WBL. She's been pulling together groups of women to talk about money, like money dinners. She's just throwing events. And I'm like, this is great. I mean, I don't think, she's not paying for all these people to come to the dinner about money. She's getting a group of people together at a really fancy place saying, would you like to have dinner? And let's talk about this. It's so cool. And you're doing the same thing for our Discord.
Appreciate that. And more to come. And everybody, like if you want to be a Noah or look for Noahs and all that, it's text messaging, or just like Melissa, every once in a while, I'm like, hey, meet this person on LinkedIn. Y'all are going to say, like, just do that. Just connect people. Don't make it too complicated.
I love it. Well, should we go into our favorite topic, the pop culture?
I think so.
Round us out?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. I have to admit, I have gotten fully into the Testaments. I think it's perfect.
What is the
for
Testaments?
this. It's the Handmaid's Tale sequel on Disney Hulu. And so I saw your face.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
Zoom
know
in
what
on that,
you all,
Alyssa.
I know what you all will be doing this weekend. So it is the story of Agnes and a pearl girl named Daisy, who you don't know who her parents are, not to spoil it for everybody, but it's like 4 or 5 years beyond Handmaid's Tale. And it's the point of view of these young girls who are now raised up in the system, and they're going to be marrying commanders. And we are right back into Handmaid's Tale. Like, just love, talk about like rights for women and all the things. I'm totally sounding like a feminist. Not that that's a bad word, but I am obsessed.
Well, this podcast is already banned by the Trump administration, so.
Actually, we were pro peptides. We were neutral on Dr. Oz. We might get a shout out.
Dr. Oz asterisk.
Yeah. Hashtag. So that I rabbit holed into 5 episodes after a trip. I was like, went to bed at like 2, not last night, but the night before, just because I was like, oh, this is great. I love how it's done.
Love to hear that. And gosh, good reminder that we've got to finish Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. What about you? What is
Well, why did I talk about Noah's Ark a little bit earlier? It's because of an anime. I know you're not a big anime fan, but
I'm definitely not. Anime fan and Melissa, not even in the same sentence, but keep going.
To the anime fam out there, because like we do have some anime fans in our Discord. The movie that I watched over the weekend was called Angel's Egg. It's this like beautiful 1985 art piece, and I guess that's not very popular right now, but it was just so artistically well done, kind of anime representation, and let's call it like really impressionist representation of the story of Noah's Ark, but told in a very different way. So it's weird. I know that description sounds weird. It's because it's weird. It's because the movie itself is extremely strange. But like I've been sitting with like how they portrayed grief, birth, depression, and this very strange imagery, and it just came out in it came out in a Noah reference that we stuck on for the whole show. But Angel's Egg, if you're looking for, it's on HBO Max. If you're looking for like this weird, like if you're looking for something that you just never would have seen before, like they just took art to the next level with that thing.
You have convinced me. I will peep into it at some point in the next week and a half. Can I close on asking you a question?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see The Devil Wears Prada 1?
Yeah. I love that movie. As a matter of fact, I rewatched it like 2 months ago.
Oh, I just had Quinn watch it with her friend at a sleepover last night. Oh my God, the nostalgia.
Oh my God.
Love. But the best part was my daughter.
Wait, what prompted you? What prompted you to?
The new one's coming out, so we're gonna go.
There's a new one.
Devil Wears Prada 2 is coming out on May 2nd. Yes.
Who do we have in that one?
Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt.
Okay. Our friends are back.
Yeah, the only one who doesn't get to come back is Nate, because So Stanley Tucci. Yes, thank you, Alyssa. So my daughter finishes watching it, and she goes, "I thought this is perfect for hope, power, and healthcare." She goes, "But what was the problem in this movie? Like, what was she struggling with?" And I was like, I was like, that's a great point. Was she overworking? She had to choose between being all consumed by work, and I was like, oh, yeah. What is the problem? Working like a crazy person is normal. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I wonder what I don't remember what my like 2000s brain thought of the amount of work versus like when I watched it recently. I was like, man, like it would suck to work that hard and then come home to the boyfriend and he's like not understanding that at all. It was so weird to me.
Yeah.
So,
You
I
know,
wonder
from
what
a
the dynamic
high-performing
would-
household that works all the time, you're like, oh, right? I thought it was just fascinating. I'm excited to see the second one.
Same here. Thanks for putting that on my radar in May. Well,
Yeah. Well, which is only around the corner. I mean,
Yeah.
we are inches away from May, and inches away from the close of the podcast. Which I think, you know, this episode might be via Noah. I think maybe.
yeah, something like that. We've got to encourage more Noahism. That is just a random artifact of me watching this anime.
Which I will go watch as long as
You're gonna watch. I can't wait.
As long as we find a way to go and see Devil Wears Prada 2 and then talk about it.
Okay. That HPH movie review coming soon.
Can't wait. Thanks, fam, for hearing about our conference adventures, and we're glad to be back and more consistent with you.
Yes. Thank you so much, y'all.